Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to talk about the data privacy related to an employee's data, which is more of an employer responsibility, right? Before doing that, we'll quickly go through the definition of data privacy again. Data privacy is my right to choose what personal information do I want to share, with whom do I want to share this information, what is my purpose of sharing this information, how would that person use it, and is he further allowed to share my information with a third party? If yes, then what is the purpose of him sharing my information with the third party? And do they all have permissions from me about using my information for that purpose, which is also referred to as consent management when it comes to data privacy. Data privacy brings in that legal aspect where I can use my judicial powers to protect my data from being misused. From an employee perspective, let's start from the business. Business collects a lot of personal information of the employees. What kind of information does it collect? Very, very basic, personal. To begin with, name, address, contact details, family details, banking details, provident fund details. Right? They also collect information about your professional background and your performance evaluations, about your skill sets that you have, about the payroll that you have been getting, the salaries that you have been getting in your prior employments, and if possible, if there is anything documentary related around your disciplinary records. When you are hired, a lot of companies do background checks as well, and they send even police verification to your residential area and to your college and past employers as well, right? And they then are the custodians of all this information about you. When and where are these information collected? This information is collected when you fill in an employment application form. Your name, your contact details, and your professional information, educational information is collected. The moment you join the organization and when onboarding is being done, then again additional information like your banking details and your provident fund details are also collected. Your performance evaluation is managed by the organization as and when an evaluation has been done, along with whenever you upgrade your skill sets. Any event in which you are involved and is not so good anti-discipline kind of an event, then your discipline background and disciplinary action, if any taken against you, is noted. And any official event like any festival or anything celebrated in office and personal pictures taken for you or for your team are also being taken and maintained by your organization. Who are the custodians of this information? To begin with, HR. HR is supposed to be having all personal information about you and stored within the organization. Your own department, maybe your team members, maybe your managers. Managers need to definitely have it. Team members may or may not have all your personal information. Finance department, so that they can process your salary and your payrolls and your provident funds. Information security department, so that they can give you the access to the right areas. This could be physical access like your attendance biometrics or your data center access if you are an IT employee, or your digital access to the data or the databases in the organization. And optionally, if there is something not so good happening, then maybe legal department needs to have your access or information. And if you are a traveling user, then logistics and travel department would also have your information with them. Where are the breach points? All custodians could become the breach point. Anyone can share your information with any third party or anyone who does not need that information. It starts from external sharing because travel desks are not always internal. Many organizations even have payrolls processed by external agencies. So then there are a risk that your personal information is being shared. Actually, sharing is not a risk, but misuse by inappropriate sharing can become a risk. Casual department discussions with your teams, with your managers, and your manager discussing about you with other team members. It could spread your personal information. Infosec issues like hacking of your networks or issues with the database or the file server that exposes access control and your information gets leaked. Networks in terms of work from home or cloud networks not very stable could also become a possibility of your personal information getting breached. What is the impact of this breach? Impact could be misuse of your personal information. I have a separate set of videos that you can watch to understand the impact of information breach on an individual and the impact of information breach on a business, right? So your personal information can be compromised, misused. This could be bringing in some departmental competition. Of course, no point mentioning that all this can bring in employee dissatisfaction, and there are some people who are so sensitive that they don't even want to share their birthdays and their anniversaries with the colleagues, so they might feel offended even if that information is shared. Loss of trust on the organization, that the organization is sharing and leaking my personal information, and misinterpreted employee record available in the market beyond the organizational boundaries. These are certain things that are not so good for an employee if they are shared. Of course, any of them does bring a bad reputation for the employer as well. What are the safety steps that can be taken? To begin with, you should collect only what is required. Right? Maybe at the time of applying you don't need any information, but when people join in you need, but again you can restrict. One basic example could be that if you don't celebrate anniversaries of your employees, if you don't celebrate or do anything special on birthdays of their kids or any other family member, you don't collect that information. You don't need that. Right? Just collect the basic information pertaining only to that person and not to the family. You should document and have a documented schedule to delete the information, critically when the employee either does not join or an applicant is rejected. You only now need their name and maybe their contact details and the reason of rejection or the reason for no-show, so that if they apply again after a period, then at least you know what went wrong last time. You can discard their backgrounds for family, for working backgrounds, professional backgrounds, anything that you record that you have with you right now. And similarly, an employee exit. An employee has exited. You sign an NDA for 2 years that he is not going to use your information further. You can pull out his information and archive it. Maybe you can leave this information with restricted access to HR only and not accessible to anyone else, even the department for which he used to work. What do they need his birthday for, or what do they need his address for? Which even otherwise, even if he is working, you can avoid. But sometimes when you have a working employee, the department head might need some information for his usage. But then at least when he has exited, you can restrict the access to the personal information of the exited employee. And you should have a documented policy that you should inform when an employee joins your organization as to how you're going to handle their extremely personally sensitive things like their birthdays, their anniversaries, and the events that happen in the office. Are they recorded? Are they documented? How are they handled? This should be known to people who join your organization. They should also know about how is their performance evaluation or any disciplinary action going to be handed over. Right? Again, not everyone needs to know your performance score. So only finance and payroll who need to know your change in emoluments. Right? Similarly, if a minor disciplinary action is taken, does not need to be marketed out in the organization. Okay, it's restricted to the impacted people until it is too big that it becomes a public issue. Fine. The contracts with your vendors who are handling your logistics, your payrolls, your SaaS applications have to be very well crafted, and what penalties are going to be imposed in case information gets shared out of them. You should define what action would be taken if non-compliance is found with any of the stakeholders or the information custodians that we discussed earlier. You should have robust and strong InfoSec policies to ensure that nothing goes out of your InfoSec department, and the networks should be very well protected. Especially if you are offering work from home, then very well protected networks should be made available to people who are working from home. So these are the few things that I wanted to share with you regarding how a personal information of an employee can be impacted from an organization if he and the organization are not very careful about it. I hope you liked this video and the content was meaningful to you. If it is so, please press the like button, share it with your friends, press the bell icon as well, and subscribe to my channel for more information about data privacy and related concepts. Thank you.